Thanks for joining us for another KSLA Cafe. I'm Adria Goins alongside Domonique, Benn. Many of you have set those New Year's resolutions to maybe lose weight, eat healthier. A lot of you have decided to save money for the new year, and that's very important, but many of you don't know where to start. So we're going to talk today about saving and budgeting. It's hard to figure out where you begin.
It is very hard, but it's something that has to be done. It needs to be done in case of an emergency. One thing that the producer of KSLA Cafe and I have started doing, and we've gotten some people on board in the newsroom, is, and you talked about it on Spending Smarter.
Yes.
The cost saving chart where you save $1 the first week, $2 the second week, $3. You get me? And so by the time you get to week 52 or wherever, is it on a 26 week or 52
I can't remember.
week? Can't remember, but you're putting away about $50-something, so I guess it would be week 52, right? But you save, close to $2,000. So you have that Christmas money,
yeah,
or you can put it in your savings.
So you don't have to worry about it come December when you're scrimping and saving for those Christmas presents. How are you doing on that, by the way?
I'm doing good. We're on what, week 4 or 5, so I only have like what in there? Just a little bit in there, but this is the thing, you can put more, and I do. And I put it in a different account, so I'm not bothering
Tempted to touch it.
I'm not tempted to touch it. I don't even have a, well, I do have a card to that account, but I have to actually kind of go to that bank.
Yeah.
So.
We have a friend that worked here at KSLA. Her name's Brittany, and whenever I posted that you gave me online and did Spending Smarter on that, she said she made it to week 40. Because I asked her, I said, she said, I did it, and I said, how did you do? And she said, I made it to week 40. But after that, she's like,
she was doing good.
I know, she was getting to the point where it was going to be some holiday money right there. So she fell off. So that's one thing I think that's got to be the hardest is, you want to get in a routine, obviously, but it's hard whenever you think, oh, well, I forgot this week. I just won't do it next week.
Or you have to double up or triple up. And it's easy to double and triple in the beginning because you're only adding like $2 plus the $3 if you miss 2 weeks in the first part. But if you're trying to double and triple towards week, 26 or 27, then you're,
So do you have it automatically drafted into that account, or do you physically have to go to the bank?
Not yet. No, I just move it over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just go online and toot and get it over there.
Right.
I gotcha. Well, there are lots of wonderful ways that you can save money, and we have a very special guest with us today who's going to tell us a little bit about how we can save money, budget for special things that you may have planned. You may have a big birthday this year. You may have a large Christmas you want to plan for, or that wonderful vacation that you want to budget for. So joining us is Colin Evans with Evans Financial Group. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, Colin. You're probably going to tell us, instead of spending all of that money on Christmas gifts, save it if you've saved all that money. Anyways, don't spend it, right?
Right.
That's hard.
It can be, we kind of get caught up, I think, with media and TV, and it's like there's so many things that are pushed on us. It's like, do I need the latest Air Jordans? Do I need the latest iPhone? It's like we kind of get in the habit of wanting things now, compared to our parents' generation, when it was like they saved for the large ticket items.
Yeah.
It's like now you see kids walking around, it's like, wow, you got an iPhone 14, 15, 27.
It took me forever to get an iPhone. I came here, I think, with the BlackBerry. I came with the BlackBerry, and I didn't get rid of it until the little ball just fell out, and I still was using it. And so that's when I came on with the iPhone family. And I typically don't trade in the iPhone when the new iPhones or whatever new phone comes out. I just wait until this one just goes out.
Yeah, that's how I am
if it works for me and I can talk on it and still, browse on it and post things for us on Facebook, then it works for me.
Right, exactly. That's one problem I think a lot of us have, especially with kids who want the latest, greatest thing. And trying to teach them financial responsibility is also hard. Do you have any suggestions on how to do that?
It is. It's because I ended up writing a book about it just because it was a project that I did with my little girl in a lemonade stand, and it happened to be, okay, here's what we need to start laying out this savings plan, because it was kind of something that my parents instilled in me. It's like, okay, we're going to start putting money back so you get this habit at a really early age. While it's tough, I think once it's instilled and our youth understand, it's like if you pay yourself first and we start putting that money aside first instead of going, you know what, I'll see what's left out of my paycheck. Because when we get in that mindset, what's left out of the paycheck is nothing. You know, it's like go ahead, get it out, let's put it aside, let's, you know, put this in a savings account, and it's where you're not looking at it, you're not tempted in it anymore, and it's just kind of no longer in the mind.
So your book was called The Lemonade Legacy, Passing Money to the Next Generation. Was it over based on a lemonade stand, or?
Yes, it was. It was. My little girl came home one afternoon, and she was actually in tears that she was down at the friend's house doing the lemonade stand, and she said, "Well, she didn't pay me fairly." And she didn't think the gal. You know, and kids get competitive, and actually the other little girl was paying her fairly. And I gave her some kind of business tips on it and said, "Do you want to open your own lemonade stand?" And she said, "Yeah, Dad, let's do that." And so we did, and it was actually over the course of 3 days, my kid raked in almost $100.
Wow.
She was literally doing over $15 an hour.
So Colin, do you recommend, or does she get to spend that money, or on something that she wants, or do you encourage her to just save it and don't touch it? 'Cause it's hard, I guess.
Because she's got little things that she likes to buy with her own money, but we actually, originally the book was called 3 Jars because that was kind of how we allocated it. So, okay, here's what's going to our church, our 10% there. Here's what's going to buy more product because you're going to have to resupply and stock your lemonade stuff. And here's a percentage that's going into your savings account. And the rest you get to keep.
Okay.
And that's how we divided that up. And then it came to the point, she was like, she doesn't think about it anymore, and she's actually becoming a really, really good saver and not even spending her own pot of money. I think it's probably because she's expecting Dad to spend, the pot of money.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dad pays for that.
Yeah,
I'll save my own money.
That
is good, though, because that teaches that consistency, and when it becomes a habit, it's easier for you to do.
It is. It's much easier. And like you guys were just talking just a second ago about, the New Year's, that resolution, and going to the gym, getting that habit put in place, and it's easy to fall off. It's like if we get sick and we miss it for a couple of days, I'll go later, or I'll save later. And then, like you said, it can catch up to you.
And adults can live by that rule too. I do my 10%. And actually, I want to correct something. I don't have a card for my kids' account. I have an account set up for my kids at a different bank. And I have an account set up at a different bank. I do have a card for mine, but I don't have a card to theirs because it's for their savings.
Yeah.
And so theirs automatically does come out of our paycheck. I did set that up.
Yeah.
So when we're paid, I don't even see the money that goes into the 2 kids'
So you don't know
account.
what's missing?
I don't know what's missing, no.
You don't even know it was ever there, which is good.
Nope, I almost forget, I don't have a huge amount each time coming out, but I do have an amount coming out for both of them that goes into their account. And then I have the money that I go and put in for the table.
Your little table. Yeah. It's always important to save. It's so hard, though, to get into that habit. What are some easy ways people can consider saving?
First off, if your employer offers it with, a lot of the companies that offer like a 401k type plan, especially if the employer is matching and giving a little bit of percentage to what you're contributing, you can't argue with that. They're giving free money. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great way because then as well, because it's automatically deducted out of your paycheck, so it's you don't have to see that. Sometimes I think it's a little bit harder for people to go, I could get it just deducted out of my bank account. But if they're ones that really monitor their bank account, or if it's coming out of their checking account, they might miss that or not, or see that go out, and it can cause them some issues. But from the individual side, you can also set up. I personally, being self-employed, mine are set up on bank drafts that just automatically come out of the 15th of every single month. It's the same way because I'm in the habit of it, and I don't want to see that coming out.
So if you're self-employed, and for people that are self-employed, they typically don't have a 401k, right? Or
correct.
Okay, so what do you suggest instead of a regular bank account? Is there something else that you can put into IRA?
Yes, IRAs, Roth IRAs, depending on income limits. They also have SEP IRAs, which are a little bit higher income limits for higher income self-employed people. So they kind of fall along the same lines as a 401k. It's just how the IRS deems them as what they call them in the tax code.
So I have a question for people that have, 401ks. I think we all have one here. So, you get your money taken out, you get the match, But sometimes you get discouraged when it drops a little bit.
Yeah.
That's just the state of the market, I guess, right?
It is, and we've been in one of the largest, I would say, bull runs in the history of the stock market. And it's kind of basing off of what that person really needs to do is look at what's my time horizon, and that's kind of where we're looking at what's your propensity for risk. If that closer window that you are to retiring, that percentage of risk needs to be much, much less because you don't have that time to reacquire those assets or wait for that market to come back.
I've always played
a lot
it
of people
safe,
don't even
though.
look on.
I do. I look, but I'm afraid to move it.
Right.
Ever since I've been working and having a 401k, I think I've always been in the middle. I've always not taken the risk.
Right.
So at my age, should I take the risk? I'm scared, Colin.
That's and that's really.
I don't want to lose what I have.
That's really when it comes into personally. See, I'm very, very conservative myself because I earned it. I want to keep it.
Right.
And there's nothing worse than seeing parentheses or negatives on a statement. And I take for me personally and my family, I take a conservative approach because that's just my personality. It's funny though seeing. When we're visiting with couples and men versus women, the guys are always the riskier one, and the ladies are always the more on the conservative side. And so, having to get those two to come together and find a balance in between is always a unique thing. But it really goes into how much are you willing to lose?
How often do you suggest that you look at your 401k and consider making adjustments to it?
This again goes into what's my risk level at. A lot of people are like, you know what, I'm just going to put it away.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to look at it. Maybe once a year.
Oh no.
I see.
I do.
I'm a once a monther, for the most part. But then when a lot of my personally on the conservative side, I don't really pay attention to that. I'm happy earning a smaller rate of return.
Right.
I'm not looking for a magic bullet and things of that nature. It's like I just want consistency, in the long run.
And now a lot of times people too, with their employers, they'll just go with what they've got and what they have set for them. And do you suggest maybe reaching out to a financial expert to maybe get some advice on, hey, if you did this, you could make more on your 401k? Or do you suggest maybe looking at your options instead of just going with that traditional setup, route that they
and typically when a 401k plan is set up, there's typically an advisor assigned to that company's group, and it's barring contact, that advisor should be receptible to saying, if the employees want to reach out to me, or if I need to set up individual meetings a couple times a year and come by and visit with everybody and say, okay, let's really talk about, what's important to you, what are things that you're really concerned about, and let's really weigh those options and, really dial it down what's in the greatest benefit for you.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of times too that when people get in a bind, and I know what you're going to say, being a financial expert, should they take a loan or withdraw on their 401k?
It's gonna be tough because, for one, there's going to be a taxable event, and then there's going to be an IRS tax penalty. What happens though is when they go to pay that back, when they're paying it back with after-tax dollars. So if they go to pay it back,
This is if you do the 401k loan.
and we're taking this money out. Now, if
Okay.
we go to pay this back, we pay it back with after-tax dollars. When you go to take it out down the road again, now it's going to be taxed again. So there's kind of a double taxation that goes in there. So you really get hit, and that's, I see it all the time. I can say, especially like in the oil industry, when that has its really big cycles, and they have a dip in that industry, and they like, I need to cash it in. I understand it because there's, you're fighting to survive and fighting to live. Yeah, totally understand that, but it's like the penalties that go along with that too. It's are you doing this for lifestyle? Do I need the new truck, or am I looking for a new shotgun, or am I doing this because I'm in desperate times?
Yeah. It's also tax season right now.
It
A
is.
lot of people wanting to get in those returns. What do you suggest the best thing to do when your tax returns come in? Like, what should we do with that money? Because a lot of people want to just buy a vacation to wherever and spend it instantly.
I'm a big proponent on getting rid of debt. If that's something that can be done, that some people are really diligent about it and getting rid of those things and getting those things paid down. If you have that opportunity, or if you have credit cards or things like that we can cover some of those sins and get rid of some of the debts over the years. It could be your recent Christmas debts, as we were just talking about that. And get out from underneath that, so you're not held by the interest rates on a lot of these credit card companies. Around tax time is also the big time when people can put money into their IRAs or their Roths because they're trying to get it in before the April 15th time. So that's really, we see quite a bit swing of that towards the last 2 weeks, especially when they come in at 4 o'clock on April 14th. I didn't have anything else to do the rest of the day today, but that is an avenue because that has to all be done before April 15th for the prior tax year.
That is my philosophy too. When I get my return, I try to get rid of any debt. Anybody that knows me, I'm very frugal, and I cannot stand like monthly payments that I don't need, like car payments or whatever. Just a while ago, 3 or 4 years ago, I paid off my car and had a card note burning ceremony right outside there because I was so happy to get rid of it. And now I had to get a new car, and I'm just hating the monthly payment.
I know, right? What do you suggest the most important things, if you could categorize these, to pay off first?
There's a trick, and the trick is actually just proven by math. And interest rates become irrelevant, and we do this exercise with clients all the time that have, it could be, the house could be the top one, the cars could be the next, and then we start stacking, but put the debts in order from highest debt down to lowest debt. And the reason is because sometimes people go, you know what, that credit card, might be one of my highest credit cards. I'm going to put more on this credit card payment. Well, take the more that you're paying and put it on the very lowest numbered debt.
Okay.
And what you start doing is you start kind of almost laddering or ratcheting it up. And we're getting rid of the lowest one first, then we take all the payments off the lowest one, move them to the next, and then we start really building upon it.
But are you still paying the highest one as you're paying off the lowest?
Yes,
Sure.
you're still paying your house note or a car note. Those are typically going to be the highest ones that are in there, but you pay the minimums on those. Pay what you're supposed to. Put everything extra and start at the bottom and work your way up.
Eliminating those small
And that's the
debts.
fastest way to do it. That you can really ratchet that, and you can kind of put that in a little bit high-speed gear and get out from underneath a lot of that debt.
Okay,
Because
my
then
big
you've got
box
that,
store.
or your,
Right?
your Best Buy purchases that
Yeah.
you made for Christmas, those can be gone right like that. And that makes a lot of sense, because a lot of people don't know where should I spend the money, because you do have interest rates that absorb a majority of that extra bulk that you put in.
They're scary. They're
Yeah.
scary when you see 24, 25, 26%. Like,
What would you consider, say if someone had a couple of credit cards, they're getting eaten up with insurance or with interest rates constantly. How do you do that? How do you take care of that? Do you consolidate them into a different credit card? Do you start calling different credit card companies to see if you can get a better rate?
Oh, that makes my
Yes.
head hurt. Consolidating
I
into,
know.
oh my God.
It does, but you can,
Is that bad to
could
consolidate
save a
it
lot
all?
those credit card companies are constantly fighting for new business, and you'll see a lot of them that'll offer and say, hey, 1 year no interest. Well, if I can wrap it in a couple of these and get at least 1 year for
But
it.
is that negative on your credit report when you take all of those that you can't pay or whatever and you put it onto one card? Is that any type of negative on your?
You're going to have the strikes against you just because you have those open lines of
Right,
credit.
right.
And even depending on how well your credit is, you can look at a bank and see if a bank would be willing to do a loan on that. In occasional instances, and sometimes it does fit with our clients, don't see it too often, but what we have done is if there's enough equity in their home, we will actually do a second mortgage and
Lord.
get rid of the debt. Well,
Is that good?
No. It can be.
It can be very dangerous too.
Right,
It can be very dangerous, exactly. But what it can do is, for one, we can get all that debt consolidated, and a second mortgage rate is going to be 7 or 8%. It's going to be a little bit higher than your first, but now the interest is tax deductible. So we've got a little bit of a benefit there. But like you said, it can be very, very
If
dangerous.
you're not paying that second mortgage, are you still paying? I mean, I don't know how that works because
Yeah, it's just like basically another credit card payment.
Yeah.
It
You're
is, but
putting all those-
fortunately you get rid of the credit cards. The diligence is,
You need
I don't
to-
need to pull this card out,
Yeah.
and use it again.
You cut that baby up.
Well, let's talk about cutting it up. People say when they get rid of close their account, it's negative on their credit report. Is that true? I mean,
It can be for a period of time. It
Okay.
can be. There's
I mean,
three
because-
agencies weigh everything, have all their little nuances on how they rate a little bit differently. But really the biggest strike is the open lines of credit.
Right.
That's what they're looking at.
because I've paid off cards and because I've heard that, I just have the cards sitting in my wallet and I don't use them, but they have zero balances. But I've always heard if I close them, yeah, zero balances. But I mean, I've always heard if I close them, I'd love to close them and cut them up. but I always heard that it's negative on that.
But I mean, couldn't you like rebuild that strike against you over the time by paying off all of that debt that you've
Yeah, absolutely. And one tip, my dad taught me this at an early age when I got my first credit card, and I was trying to kind of build my own credit. And one of the biggest things he stressed in me is don't put food on it and don't put gas on it, because they're all very short-lived. So meaning you don't get to keep anything.
Yeah.
Don't put gas on your debit card or
on your
credit card?
Because that's gone in a week. I've used that, and that's out the door. Now I could be possibly paying interest on it for no telling how long.
That $20 tank of gas is going to cost you $40, $50.
Right,
I never thought of it that way. I'm thinking, I'm going to keep that $20 or $40 in my regular bank account.
But I mean, I can understand if you had a credit card that rewards you for those kinds of purchases.
Mine does, yeah.
But if it doesn't, I totally get that, because the interest rate you're going to be paying on that tank of gas is,
that's true.
3 or 4 months down the road, you're finally paying it off.
Mine, the only one I use is American Express, and the reason is I have to pay that off every month. So and so I don't have a problem putting gas or food on it, but that baby's paid off every single month to keep.
If not, you're in trouble.
That keeps me in check.
Right. Oh, wow.
A lot of good information.
Yeah, a lot of good information.
There's so many avenues that you can go, and that's the problem. You have to figure out what's best for you and your lifestyle.
Right.
And I think the best thing, I mean, for someone like me, I don't want high interest rates, because I feel like that's someone else getting my money, and I want to see it any ways I can. But it's just, the problem is I think why a lot of people don't do it is because they're scared, because they don't know enough about which process to handle, and that's hard.
They don't do what?
They're scared because they don't know, they don't ever do anything about their debt.
Oh, right.
Because they're scared because they don't know which way to get started or what process to use or which works best for them. I feel like, that's a lot of times why
Colin just told us to
Well, of
start
course,
at the bottom.
yep. Start at the bottom. That's a great idea. I really do think that's a great idea. Your little bitty purchases that you have, start at the bottom and go all the way up.
Yeah, I like that.
I sure hope that maybe in a couple of years we can just have the house and the car.
I don't even want the car payment. I mean, really, I don't know. I just don't like monthly payments. I don't. That's just my own philosophy or whatever.
But I hear that. I'm the same way. Colin, thank you for coming.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Great for having you. I really, really appreciate it. And if you want to give us some information on how you save money, how you budget, we would love to hear it. You can comment below on our KSLA post here on Facebook. And if you also want to give us any topics you might want us to discuss, you can also do that below on KSLA's Facebook page as well.
And also these 2 books, The Lemonade Legacy by Colin Evans, as well as The Retirement at Risk. And people can get this online maybe?
Yeah, Amazon.com has them.
All right.
Perfect.
Or they can come by our office and we'll give them a copy.
There you go. Thanks for joining us.